Колеги, ми продовжуємо.
Esteemed colleagues, we resume our series of press briefings. Our next press briefing and the last for today will be with Ms. Olena Rybak, widow of Mr. Volodymyr Rybak, who was a deputy member of parliament of Orlevska City Council, who was kidnapped and tortured to death by separatists in April 2014. And in his yesterday address to the Congress, President of Ukraine mentioned him, and also with Ms. Rybak, we will have Mr. Smoley and Olena Chernogorska. Good afternoon. I'm Anastasia Chernogorska. I'm representing the Human Rights Foundation Open Dialogue. Our foundation unites the European community of journalists, human rights advocates, and civil society organizations. The kidnapping and murder of Volodymyr Rybak is the showcase of extreme terrorism in the eastern Ukraine, and it opened a series of terror actions. It also pushed up the speculations in the Russian mass media, which covered this story in a very much different way. And in the Western Europe, they presented the body by Volodymyr Rybak as the activist of separatist forces, and actually the story was very much distorted. In order to streamline the justice, the investigation, and the investigation process, we believe that the coverage in mass media is extremely important. In July this year, the Italian parliament had parliamentary hearings, and our foundation invited Ms. Rybak to make an intervention during this hearing. And this story attracted much attention from the Italian parliamentaries, and they got more understanding what was going on in the east of Ukraine. Due to this case, we have an opportunity to demonstrate the Western media what's going on in Ukraine and attract more support from them in the information war. President Poroshenko mentioned the case of Volodymyr Rybak in his yesterday's speech to the American Congress, and he called the parliamentarians to honor this nobleman, and we believe that actually he belongs to the heavenly 100, and his actions were done for the sake of Ukraine and for the independence of Ukraine. But unfortunately, now we cannot officially recognize Mr. Rybak as the member of the Heavenly 100, and I give the floor to Olena.
Thank you for agreeing to giving me this opportunity to speak. I would like to personally address the President of our country. Esteemed Petro Alexeyevich, in the end of April, you were very often mentioning the name of my husband, Volodymyr Rybak, when an active phase of anti-terrorist operation was resumed. I'm pleased that yesterday, on the 18th of September, exactly 5 months later, after my husband was murdered, you again remembered him as a real patriot, as a person loyal to the party Batkivshina. My husband, with his life and his death, demonstrated how not easy it is to be patriot of Ukraine and Donbass. Thank you also, Piotr Alexeyevich, because you, as many patriots of our country and Donbass, you want in the city where Volodya lived, we have a street named after him. And as patriotic citizens of Donbass suggest, there should be a monument put on his grave. The monument in the form of flag, the flag for which he gave his life. After the death of my husband, the people of Ukraine recognized him as a hero. His photographs are in Krishatik, in Grushevska, in Institutskaya Street. In Canada, there will be a book written about his life and death, and only in Ukraine, the Ukrainian government for 5 months cannot define the legal status for my husband. He is not considered to be a hero of Heavenly Hundred or hero of Ukraine. My question is why someone in our country is not interested in commemorating the memory of the hero. Please help all the heroes, all the patriots of Ukraine, especially those whose death caused a new wave of patriotism in Ukraine and proved that Ukraine, first of all, these are not words, that's the style of life. Glory to all heroes who perished for the freedom of Ukraine and independence of Ukraine. I am Victor Smali. I'm a lawyer of Olena Rybak, and I'm working on the case that we have initiated after the death of the husband of Elena and the son of Yaroslava Poplavka, and also Dykovsky Yuri is included into this case. Talking about the criminal case, we had a paradox in the very beginning. Despite all my applications, requirements, first these were requests and then requirements for criminal cases which were in Gorlovka, so that they are transferred to Kiev, to the main investigation department. But somehow there was a big opposition to that. In the result, the Dniprovsky regional department passed a decision that is a violation of law. In the result of my complaints, the Dniprovsky regional department closed the case. We on Yuri Poplavka, we invited different NGOs. We organized the action near the General Prosecutor's Office and the court, and then this resolution about closing the case was cancelled, but the cases are still in Gorlivka, basically on the territories where Ukrainian authorities did not control militia and prosecutor's office. We have been trying again and again to submit complaints to the name of the general prosecutor, but they were not satisfied. During one of the meetings with the general prosecutor, But before that, this person was the Vice Prime Minister, Vitaly Yarema, who is now the chairman of Intersectoral Working Group, Interagency Working Group on issues related to Heavenly Hundred and on Slavyanska case. During our unofficial meeting, he appointed the time for meeting, and I submitted the application, and I said that I was, and this application was satisfied, but it was executed only 2 months later. For 2 months, the case wasn't transferred. And that led to the situation when 2 criminal cases were transferred and they are merged, and that's on Vladimir Rybak and Yuri Poplavka, and they cannot get the case of Yuri Dyakovsky. Basically, all that was happening in the security service building in Slavyansk, and these cases are about the same period of time, and what was happening with them, that is a component of one and the same crime, the crime of terrorism. First, the head of the main investigatory department said that he cannot get the case of Dyakovsky, but later we learned that there is a letter saying that in the Donetsk prosecutor's office they continue investigating Dyakovsky case. No one requested these materials. That means that possibly the leadership of the General Prosecutor's Office or of the Ministry of Interior does not want to establish the circumstances of murder of these above-mentioned persons, but the executors, without having any stimulus, they're trying to sabotage. What is happening now? Now, just before this press briefing, I had a phone call from Yaroslav Poplavka, the mother of Yuri Poplavka, and she said that the criminal case on Vladimir Rybak and Yuri Poplavka have been transferred to the General Prosecutor's Office, but we were not informed about that. Yesterday we had the meeting with the head of the main investigatory department, and probably he doesn't have that information. Either they don't have any communication and he doesn't have any control on some of the cases. We do have hope that the General Prosecutor's Office, the main investigatory department of the General Prosecutor's Office, will finalize these cases. They will find persons who are related to these murders, because according to our information, these are same people. And because Vladimir Rybak was the person who was a real patriot, it's easy here, but when you are in an aggressive environment, actually the banditism that was in Donetsk Lugansk Oblast, which was protected by Donetsk gang, it was difficult to fight against it. And one of the real fighters against it was Vladimir Rybak. And for his fight for Ukraine, he was killed. I do hope that Arseniy Yatsenyuk will pay attention to that situation They will define the status of Vladimir Rybak, Yuri Popravka, and Yuri Diakovsky. And we hope that they will appoint a meeting for us to resolve that problem, because all the time Елена Rybak, Yaroslava Popravka, and the mother of Diakovsky, Yuri, they addressed the General Prosecutor's Office and the Ministry of Social Policy, Vitaly Yarema, but all their requests are not considered because there's no legal mechanism for that. There is no will to resolve that problem. We hope that after yesterday's speech of the President Poroshenko, he will pay attention to the problem that exists on this Slaviansky case, and it will be addressed, because this is the image of our state. If this problem is resolved, it will mean that our state does pay attention to that, and the pain of the relatives of those who were killed is also the pain of our politicians. I would like to thank the representatives of the Open Dialogue Fund. Do you have any questions? You said that the legal procedure is not, that there's no legal procedure. They refer to the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers, which clearly defines the time frame. And in accordance with that, they include those who were killed to the Heavenly Hundred. So they say that if there is an amendment made to the Cabinet of Ministers resolution, they will be able to change this situation with these three persons. So getting the status is limited only by that time frame. Yes, you understand it correctly. Everything's limited because the resolution passed by the Cabinet of Ministers is not fully correct. I believe that the notion itself, Heavenly Hundred, it's more than not just those people who were killed at Maidan. We had many of such Maidans all over the country, in Donetsk, in other cities. So don't differentiate it this way. Once there are no more questions, I would like to thank you. We wish moral support to Olena, and we hope that now this will be resolved. Please inform us. Thank you.